The New York Times is shitting on progressives. Look at this headline here. Democrats in split screen. The base wants it all. The party wants to win. So note the implication there. The implication is, the stupid, rabble, the peasants, the base, they're the problem. Their priorities are diametrically opposed to winning. If we give the base what they want, then we're incapable of winning. The party wants to win, so we have to keep snubbing our base. That's what's implied just in the headline. And the article is just as bad as the headline leads on. So what do? Well, they talk about, I'm not going to go through all the specifics here, but I'll give you the general breakdown. You can read the article yourself if you want. But they start by talking about the People's Summit. Now, the People's Summit is a gathering of left-wing activists and people who are part of the movement. Bernie Sanders was the keynote speaker. You had a lot of great progressive leaders go talk, and people who were part of the event and people who did panel discussions. I know a lot of our Justice Democrats were there, and Jimmy Dore was there. So a lot of people near and dear to my heart were there, and it basically is like the left-wing version of CPAC. That's what the People's Summit is. Now, other corporate Democrats have tried to replicate it. Like, no, we're going to have our conference, the Ideas Conference, or whatever the fuck they call it. But they just allow in, like, the corporatists and the sellouts, and they don't... It's not like a real movement. It's the DC insiders. So the People's Summit is like the real movement of the people, where there's a lot of energy and a lot of excitement and a lot of, like, can't wait to rebuild the Democratic Party to what it should be. But what they do is they shit on that, and they act like, well, no. See, the problem is that if these people get their way, then look, they're not going to be able to win. The Democrats are going to be permanently lost. And how we're supposed to unify, guys? We have to unify. Notice the implication with that argument. So you're screaming about unity, but you're shitting on the people who are calling for single payer and free college and a living wage and to end the wars. So what does that mean? It means you want to unify behind a message that is not that. You want real progressives to fall in line behind corporate Democrats. That's your idea of unity. Now, the most frustrating part of the piece, though, is when they go on to basically talk about their model of success. They say, look at Jon Ossoff, who's running in a special election in Georgia. He's a Democrat, and this is a solidly Republican district, but he's doing well in the polls. And this shows that it's so obvious that you have to run as a centrist and a corporatist to win. See, that's it. End of debate. End of conversation. He's got high popularity numbers right now. Jon Ossoff does. At no point in the article do they bring up he's running against an absolute idiot who just argued that she's against a livable wage. We covered the story the other day. She's like, I do not support a livable wage. What? So, no offense to Jon Ossoff, except I don't give a fuck if he takes offense. He could take offense all day long. He can go fuck himself. You could run a ham sandwich against her, and the ham sandwich would be polling better than her, because she's a mess. But they're wrongly attributing how well he's doing in favorability rating to him being a great candidate because he doesn't sign on to single payer, and he's kind of like an Obama-style mealy-mouthed Democrat who vaguely talks about platitudes and cliches and talks about unity over division and blah, 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 blah. And they go, see, centrist corporatist, good, huh? Good. Okay, but if your argument is, hey, look, he's got high favorability numbers right now and he's beating the Republican in that special election, why wouldn't your argument be, look at Bernie Sanders' favorability rating? He's better than everybody in the country. He's literally the most liked politician in the country. He's everybody's favorite senator, and he's everybody's favorite politician. So if your argument is going to be poll numbers, look at the poll numbers, well, then you're wrong by your own standard that you set up. Because Bernie's favorability is 61%. Now, on the flip side, who else ran with the same model that the New York Times is holding up as this ideal? Hillary Clinton. What's her favorability rating? 35%, tied with Donald Trump. They act like we haven't tried the neoliberal, corporatist, centrist approach all along from the 1980s until today. But that is what we tried. Bill Clinton model, Barack Obama model, Hillary Clinton model. These are the people who have had control of the party. And guess what? You lost 1,000 seats under Barack Obama across the country. Democrats lost 1,000 seats. I don't know if you noticed, Donald Trump is president. The Republicans hold the Senate, the House of Representatives, most governorships, and most state legislatures. So how can you possibly make that argument and think it's logical? That, well, you know, you got to be like centrist corporatists in order to do well, because I found one example of one guy who's against the worst opponent ever, who's a centrist and a corporatist, and he's doing slightly better. How about the literally over 1,000 examples of your model of candidate failing? How about that? How about that? So let me give you another example. These kinds of people love the Joe Manchin types. Like, yeah, they say they're Democrats, but they're really Republicans, but that's the only way to win in Republican districts. How do you know when you've never tried to run real progressives? Bernie Sanders just did a town hall in West Virginia a month or so ago, or maybe 2 months ago, with Chris Hayes. He was getting standing ovations from Trump voters, a room full of Trump voters. They said, I love that you fight for us. You're for the people. You're for Medicare for all. He got a room full of Trump voters to cheer for Medicare for all, free college, a living wage. Why? Because the divide is not, you know, Republican versus Democrat. It's establishment versus anti-establishment. And they say, we want to run establishment candidates, and I guarantee you will win. But you lost over 1,000 seats doing just that. So Allison Lundergan Grimes, all these smug elitists and establishment insiders said the same goddamn thing about her. Mitch McConnell is literally the most disliked senator in the country. Bernie's the most liked. Mitch McConnell's the most disliked. People hate him. He had the most winnable seat. So the Democrats said, we gotta go with who we know will win. A center-right corporatist Democrat, Allison Lundergan Grimes. She would shoot ads where she's shooting guns, saying, oh yeah, you know, I'm kind of like the Republicans, except just a little bit nicer and stuff. And everybody, she lost. She lost to the most disliked senator in the country. Why? Because everybody was listening to the New York Times model here that they're advocating for. You got to run like a corporatist and a centrist, and that's, you know, that's the only way that you're going to win. But you keep losing when you do that. Mark Pryor, a Democratic senator from Arkansas, guess what? He lost too. Why? Because he ran as, I'm Republican light, so vote for me. But he got his ass handed to him. You haven't given these people the option of the populist left. And then you say they're not going to pick populist left. How would you know? You didn't give them the fucking option. And all the evidence is there that they would support it. That's why in West Virginia, they love Bernie Sanders. Because he's arguing for a new deal to give these people jobs. He's arguing for the jobs of the future. Solar jobs, wind jobs, green energy jobs. He's arguing for a living wage and free college and ending the wars and Medicare for all. When you give these people the option, they go, yes, I like that. I like that. But it doesn't matter how many times. Over 1,000 seats have been lost by Obama-style Democrats under Obama, corporate Democrats. And they go, obviously the base. I'm going to read you the title one more time. Democrats in split screen. The base wants it all. The party wants to win. You're disregarding the most basic facts that what the Democratic base wants, the actual progressives and liberals, the polls show the overwhelming majority of the American people agree with it. How many times have I showed you the chart of Vox decided to commission a poll, I think it was done by SurveyMonkey, where, and remember, Vox was, if anything, biased against Bernie Sanders and biased in favor of Hillary Clinton. They did a poll, and what'd they find out? They found out, oh my God, Bernie Sanders' agenda is wildly popular. They asked people, they said, what do you think of Medicare for all? What do you think of free college? And what do you think of raising taxes on the rich? It overwhelmingly popular. Over 50% for virtually everything. So these guys come along and they say, no, we got to go the corporate model. But if you poll people on what the corporate Democrats want, it's not as popular. Guys, this is basic logic and rationality here. Go with the people who are more popular, who are for the popular ideas, who have the higher favorability ratings, who you've never given people the choice of before, but they can't do it. Now, why can't they do it? Well, I don't doubt that whoever wrote this article for the New York Times, they're just idiots in the establishment bubble who've drunk the Kool-Aid and think like, no, this is seriously the way to win, is to get the corporatists. Even though it's been proven that's failed. That's what Hillary Clinton was, and look what fucking happened. She lost to Donald Trump. But actual Democratic insiders, some of them know Like, shit. No. It's not that we think it's actually the right way to win to go in our direction, but it's that they're so beholden to their donors that they don't think the Bernie option is a choice. Because if you go in the Bernie direction, that means you're snubbing donors. So they go, snubbing donors is not an option. So we can't do that. So we got to try to be as progressive as possible while still serving our donors. But guess what? That's not progressive at all, because you end up serving your donors and not the people. Those things are at odds. You can't represent the people and your corporate donors. So a lot of Democratic insiders know, like, yeah, Bernie's like, he's the one who's more popular. He's the one who's got the ideas that'll get the votes. But we can't go in his direction policy-wise because that'll make our donors mad. So what they're doing is trying to put him out there as a mascot. Say, okay, you go rally people and get them on our side, and then we trick them into voting for us, and then we don't vote for Medicare for all, and we don't vote for free college, and we don't vote for raising taxes on the rich, and we don't vote for importing cheaper drugs from Canada. But guess what? That trick's not going to work anymore. That's why Justice Democrats are here, because our candidates take no corporate money, no PAC money, and we represent the people. Go read our platform. That's what all of our candidates stand for. Go read our platform. And understand, we are at a financial, monetary disadvantage because corporate Joe Manchin, who's one of the people we're running against, he could just go to a few billionaires and raise enough money to run the whole campaign, whereas we need small donations from a lot of people. So that's why we need you. justicedemocrats.com/donate, because the long-term solution is getting money out of politics and having clean elections. That's the long-term solution. But in the short term, we don't have money out of politics yet, so that means we have to raise money, and we have to raise it from somewhere. So where are we going to go? Not to corporations and not to PACs. We go to the people so that our candidates only represent the people, and we're going to fight for everything in that platform. So go to justicedemocrats.com/donate and help us out, because I can't take this shit anymore, man. Random noises from the computer, that's always fun. I can't take this shit anymore. I just can't. To have Democrats in split screen, the base wants it all, the party wants to win. If I read one more dumbass article or hear one more dumbass argument about how the proven failed approach of the corporate Democrats is the right approach, I'm going to start breaking shit. I am. Because I've never seen more evidence that a position is incorrect, but they still make the argument as if we've never ran their experiment. We've run your experiment. We run it repeatedly. And guess what? You lose time and time again. You lose so badly that you lose to fucking Donald Trump, who was a fake populist buffoon reality star. You lost to him because your corporate model sucks. Your corporate candidates, it's so clear why they're really running. They're running to serve the establishment, and they're running for self-aggrandizement and narcissism. That was Hillary's problem. Only 25% of her ads focused on policy. And your answer is, let's keep running Democrats like that when you lost over 1,000 seats doing that. So no, the old definition of insanity, trying the same thing over and over and expecting different results. That's what they're doing. It is insane. It is insane what the New York Times and elitists and establishment shills want to do. So we need to go in there and be the wave that takes over the Democratic Party and make the Democratic Party a party of the workers again and a party of the peoples again. Justice to peoples. Make it a party of the people again. JusticeDemocrats.com.